Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Libra July 2023 Illumination reading. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot reading for Soul Illumination. So hi, everyone, and welcome. My name is Lauren. We're going to be taking a look at the energy for the month ahead, which is July, and we're going to be taking an expanded look. So I'll be pulling some cards, taking a look at the general energy, and then we're going to dive into the themes a little bit more by pulling some clarifiers and some oracle cards. But first, we're going to start by pulling some cards here, Libra, to take a look at what you're bringing to the month of July. Then we're going to be looking at a theme over here that Spirit is asking you really to embrace and move into by the end of the month so that you can bring in a blessing or a point of growth that wants to come in for you. Then we'll look at a block and a challenge and advice from Spirit as well, and then just the overall energy of the month ahead. So Libra, I hope you've all had a wonderful June as you move into your July here. And it seems like that's the case. We have the Nine of Cups and we have the King of Cups. This is your energy, Libra, which is really interesting. The King of Cups, when we're thinking about this as an internal energy, this is the energy of someone who is emotionally mature. You could say emotionally grounded. They are strong in their sense of self in their relationship to their emotions, but they're also someone who can kind of bring in that loving, more paternal energy as well. And with the Nine of Cups, this is having a lot to be grateful for on an emotional level. And it's also where we get that chance to be so grateful in our life that we also are getting closer to that 10 of Cups, where we really make that last final heart's wish for experiencing the full 10 of Cups in our experience, which is kind of, I like to call it touching a little piece of heaven on earth for ourselves in the emotional sense. So for some of you, there is a wish, a dream that has something to do with the King of Cups energy, whether this is the dream of moving into becoming that parental figure within your own life. This could be where you're hoping to bring this into your life, a loving partner even. This could also be where you are really sitting firmly in your emotions. You're realizing how much you have to be grateful for, and you're kind of ready. I get the feeling of kind of being ready here to share your emotions. Now, I do find it interesting that the King of Cups seems to be holding the final cup here when we think of moving from the 9 to the 10. There's an intuitive element to this of almost either A, sharing your abundance with someone, reaching out to someone, kind of when we think of the masculine energy that is initiating energy. Or it's the final cup in kind of everything here for you is the balancing of your own emotions, is really holding your emotional truth important to yourself and realizing how important it is also to lead from that place. There's a sense of really honoring your emotions this month, of really getting to that place where you're not going to turn your back on them anymore. Ooh, okay, that was quite a few cards there. Well, I'm going to now pull some cards here to see what's going on around you and what Spirit is asking you really to embrace, the major growth point for you this month, Libra. So what does Libra need to know about that? Oh, okay. So we have Ace of Cups and a card that is specific to this deck, which I look at as the true romantic energy of the traditional major arcana Lovers card. Now, the Lovers card in the major arcana can represent making a choice in love. It can represent romantic love, but it also can represent just more of the general theme of choosing what we love. But this card in this specific version of the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot deck, it really, for me as a reader, when I use this deck, speaks to the vulnerability of romantic love. And I think for some of you, which is interesting, it does look like there may be a new relationship on the horizon for you. For those of you who are single, there may be a recommitment to a relationship for those of you who have been in a long-standing one. And I get for many of you, the recommitment comes from almost a recommitment to your own emotional self, and you are bringing that out. Here's the Ace of Cups. The King of Cups holds the Ace of Cups. He holds the potential for the new, for new, fresh connection. And so some of you may be getting ready to go back out again onto the dating scene. Some of you may be getting ready to, again, kind of renew your vows on a certain level. This can also be where, for some of you, and I'm actually going to see what's at the bottom of the deck. Oh, yes. Okay. So great energy. 3 of Cups, underscored by the 5 of Wands and the Page of Cups. Yes, that's kind of what I was going to say. It's almost like there is a sense here of maybe falling back in love with life as well. The Ace of Cups speaks to that kind of spiritual soul renewal, where we get to kind of go back out into life with that vulnerable romantic sensibility. And with the 3 of Cups, there's a lot to be celebrated this month. That's your main underlying energy. Reconnecting with people who support you, finding your soul tribe even perhaps. This could be where maybe you had gone within for quite some time and now you're ready to share what's in your cup. And it's this month is really asking you to lean into that vulnerability of the new, of experiencing love anew as well. Now, with the 5 of Wands and the Page of Cups underneath here, for many of you, I get the feeling that there's been a little bit of chaos or a shakeup around you getting back in touch with your inner child. The Page of Cups can speak to kind of the innocence of the rediscovery, the reconnection to our emotional self. And sometimes I can feel a little raw, a little wounding, where we want to kind of just openly express what we love. We want to openly express our emotional self. But when we come from the Page of Cups, sometimes that can come out a little unpolished because it has almost that childlike energy. And maybe it felt like you were kind of almost thrown to the wolves in a way. Like, here's me in my cup. And then it was chaos, or you got knocked around a bit. And I feel like for many of you, you're coming out of that where it's saying, you get the chance now to hold firm to your own feelings. You get to see what you're grateful for and how you can create the 10 of Cups for yourself. And that 10 of Cups is a recommitment to vulnerability in a romantic partnership, or wanting to start the journey again in this direction. And it can lead to, I think, quite a bit of celebration this month, which is beautiful, or reconnection. That's a strong feeling I'm getting here, Libra, reconnection. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to pull the rest of your cards here. So we're going to first take a look at the challenge or the block that's coming in. Then we're going to look at advice from Spirit. And then we're going to look at the gift or the abundance that wants to come in. So we have death. Now, death is your main point of challenge here this month, which actually is it sounds strange to say it in this way, right? It's a very fruitful energy when it's coming in on this, like oh yes, with the Ace of Wands. I love it. Okay. So death, when we think of energy and we think of matter in our experience, energy cannot be destroyed. In fact, matter cannot be destroyed. It just reforms, reshapes itself, is transferred into something new. And with death coming in at this point, it's almost like the old version of the self is becoming the fodder or the new soil for what is to grow, with the Ace of Wands coming in right after that. This is the new spark. This is the new inspiration. But first, there has to be that release of something that truly needs to be released. And most likely, it's a past version of yourself where you did not honor your emotional self. Where maybe you weren't in emotional control of yourself. This could be where you might have just kind of spoken off the cuff, kind of coming more from the Page of Cups energy instead of the King of Cups energy. And there is here with the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Wands, a new fresh spark again. There's a connection with the Ace of Wands to your eternal flame, that passion that only you hold within yourself. And with the Ace of Cups, this is connection to your spiritual self. But it's the start. It's the start of something new. And I think there's a feeling here of really having to release any old way or old patterning. Yeah, with the world coming into the heart of your reading, that says this is a hard stop on a major cycle that you've come through successfully. And when the world comes up, it generally does mean that there is some type of death element that comes forward. A part of ourself, that cycle has to die away, and with it, a part of ourself as we are growing into the new and heightened version of ourself. Now, the world is what Spirit is asking you to embrace, to really allow you to have this kind of death energy, to embrace the death energy, because it's saying the cycle is over. Who you were in that cycle is done. The challenges you faced in that cycle are done as well. They're completed. You've learned lessons that now you get to carry forward, and this new cycle is fresh. And what I love on the other side of this is we have the Moon and the Three of Cups. Now, the Moon is coming in here to say, yeah, the way is unclear. When we start a new cycle, often we don't see the Moon can speak to what's hidden. We don't always see, okay, here's that hard and fast end, and then the next step is into the new, and I get to see all the way forward to the end of the next chapter. It's like, no, it doesn't work that way. This is saying this is a month for you really to embrace the end and the new beginning that's starting at the same time, which can seem a little confusing and a little difficult, right? Where it's almost like you have to kind of mourn and get excited in 1 month. But the beauty of it is that there's the Three of Cups coming in here again. So here's the Three of Cups mirrored back on this side. And the Three of Cups is your final point of challenge, but this is also your gift. So if you can allow kind of the past to be the past. And for some of you, this may be where, if you're in a long-standing relationship and there has to be a change in that dynamic, it's almost like you do have to put a hard and fast end to the previous cycle and not carry that forward into the next cycle with your partner. Or there's a hard and fast end to an ex relationship where you're not going to, again, bring that into, there's not going to be the fear around, well, I'm going to hold myself back. I'm going to hold my cup sacred. I'm not going to share it with others. There's something here where it's time to share that now again. And it will be celebrated. The Three of Cups is a beautiful energy of celebration, of intimate partnership coming together, and you being part of that. So there is this feeling of really being able to just kind of truly put that stop to anything that was coming up in the past cycle, specifically pertaining to intimate romantic partners. And if there is an ex that maybe you're suddenly realizing, oh my gosh, I thought I was over them and I'm not, this is that month where you can finally put that to bed, to rest, and you get to then, I think, step into something that is waiting to come in for you, which is love and support and community. Now, the Queen of Swords at the bottom of the deck, this is your secondary underlying energy. She is the individual who knows her story. She knows what she's capable of, what she's gone through, what she's survived, and she speaks to that. She understands the truth of her experience up to this point. So this is a month, and it's beautiful because it's actually your energy, Libra. So you're really harnessing your own energy to get very clear as to just how capable you are, what you've gone through, how you've survived it, and then realizing how that needs to be celebrated, not hidden. And how now, through this beautiful kind of emotional stability, this place of emotional stability you're coming into, how you can now go out, and there's almost this like the training wheels can come off, or there's a safe element for you to show yourself in a vulnerable way, because now you have this additional kind of emotional grounding, and you're not gonna deny your emotions again if that was something that happened in the past. But there's a feeling here of really leaning into love, leaning into the vulnerability, and understanding that there is support and community here that wants to come in to help you through this process. So let's go ahead and I'm going to pull some clarifiers now. We're going to dive a little deeper into the cards on the table. So let's see what do we need to know about death? What are you releasing? Okay, 2 of coins. Yeah, there may be a routine or kind of a way of being in the physical that you might be ending. King of Wands. 2 coins and King of Wands. This can be a very interesting story here. For some of you, you might actually be being asked to, with the King of Wands, this is Leo energy. And this might be actually you having to let a Leo in your life go, if that's something that you have. But this can also be where maybe you've been balancing for some time the energy of someone who embodies the King of Wands energy. The King of Wands energy can be someone who is like the fiery, dynamic CEO, but it's also someone who really leads from their own passions. And sometimes that can be a person who that can be a detriment to the other person involved with that individual. Like when we think of Steve Jobs, let's say, or Elon Musk, those are individuals who would harness the energy of the King of Wands, but they can be people who are so focused on their own needs and their own passions and their own desires that they often ignore or can almost trample on the other people around them who don't share the same passions. So with the 2 of Pentacles, this is just kind of getting stuck into the day-to-day. This is literally the tasks we have to do. Sometimes it does ask us that question of prioritization, like can you pick one over the other instead of trying to balance 2 things of equal importance to yourself. It can also speak to just kind of getting by, that literally this is just a time of just doing. So for some of you, the release is around someone who may have embodied this King of Wands energy around you, whether it was a boss, a business owner, a life partner, someone along those lines who kind of trampled on you and kind of left you in just the spinning of almost like you had to kind of keep the pieces going while they were off embracing their passion. Now, this could also be where this is a part of yourself that you were maybe denying, that maybe there was a part of you where you were not following your own passions and instead you were just getting lost into the day-to-day. And it's saying you have the opportunity now to step into this energy, but from a place of emotional awareness, not from a place of I just need to do and go, but from a place of how does this make me feel and the why behind what you want to pursue, how you want to lead, and how you want to bring passion into your life. And I think that's going to be that kind of new spark here of the aha. And for those of you who are leaving behind, this energy of kind of being at the mercy of someone who is maybe a little over the top or kind of trampled on you, this is where you realize, okay, in the releasing of them or the releasing of this dynamic where I was ignoring this part of myself at the expense of someone else or for someone else, this is saying, where's my spark again? And for a very few of you, this could actually be where you were getting stressed out running your own business. That could be the case, but that's going to be a very individual message there. Okay, Ace of Wands. We have the Moon and we have the 10 of Cups. I love that. 10 of Cups, there it is, from the 9 to the 10. The 10 of Cups is, again, the happy family card. You can see here in this picture, it looks almost like there's a wedding cake with 2 individuals on top celebrating. The Moon does say that the way is unclear. You're taking a chance. You're feeling called. When we think of the moon and its cycles, right? When we have a full moon like it's shown here, it pulls the tides. And sometimes even as individuals, we can feel that pull within us because of how much water we have just in our physical being. And there's almost like you're feeling pulled now to your vision, your version of the 10 of Cups. And it's lighting your fire again. You see that it's possible. But you're not going to see it it's almost like you have to go out there on faith. That is kind of what the moon asks us, right? Can you walk a path on faith that you feel called to move into? And if it's starting to light that fire within again and you're starting to reconnect to that dream, it's saying it's time to trust that. It's time to lean into that. It's time to bring either the spark back to an old relationship, or it's time to reconnect with your own spark, your own fire, your own passion to get back out there, to engage with others and to potentially meet a new romantic partner. Okay, so we have two cards that came out, one face up and one face down. So for the world, we have the Page of Swords, which came out face up, and we have the Two of Cups, which came out face down. So the Page of Swords is can be kind of the curious individual. This is someone who's trying to gain more information, trying to gain clarity. They see a little bit of the truth, but they don't see the entire truth. And I think for some of you, with the Two of Cups coming up or coming out face down, there's trying to reassess your intimate connections with others. That's what the Two of Cups speaks to. How do you connect with others? And for some of you, there may be almost like a lack of clarity or truth around connections. You might feel that you don't have connections around you. You might feel that you don't have that intimate partnership. And this might be one where it's time to kind of get out of that cycle. When we think of the world coming in here, where maybe you're constantly, this can be someone who's constantly judging as well the connections they have, where they're almost like wary, because the Page of Swords can be the spy card. This could be where someone's, watching someone else, like when you make a new friend and you're like, but are they really my friend? Are they going behind my back? Do they think I'm weird? That kind of thing. That can be kind of something that's coming up here. And it also could be too, where this is the whole lesson of the cycle, is understanding how you connect with others, your dynamic, and how maybe you've held yourself back from connecting in a way that really shared your emotions, honored who you are, or shared your emotions in a healthy and mature and grounded way. So you have the opportunity here, I think, to really step again into the new cycle with a lot more vulnerability and a lot more self-awareness. And for some of you, there might be hidden support that you have not seen or have not tapped into. That can be you joining the Two of Cups out here with the Three of Cups. Okay, so let's see the moon. What do we need to know about the moon? Queen of Swords. So there's the Queen of Swords again with the moon. That's using your own story to allow you to have the strength. Yeah, and the Seven of Swords. To allow you to have the strength to go through the unknown. The Seven of Swords can speak to self-sabotage. It can speak to a level of avoidance where you're sitting here kind of saying, well, is it worth it for me to go back out there again? And this can be where you're doing kind of a life review, a story review, where this is why it's unknown. Because you're looking back and telling yourself a story of, well, the last time I tried to get into a romantic partnership, it failed. So I don't really want to try again, or you're saying, is it worth it for me? And I don't know if it's worth it for me to go back out there again, because the last time I got hurt. And that can be a difficult thing when, again, the way is unclear. We don't know if we start dating again, if the next person we meet is going to hurt us. We don't know that. But the dream, the wish is there for that. And I think for many of you, the spark is being reignited for yourself to say, but I want that. I have earned that. Going through what I have just gone through in this last cycle, I have earned the right to have love and support. And so this is where, if you can get strong in your story and really look at it from a place of not where you failed or who has hurt you, but instead what you've survived and how that has changed you and how that has made you stronger as an individual, then that hopefully will give you the courage to realize, wow, I've got a lot to offer. And you know what? That last relationship, you're right, it didn't kill me, or that last cycle, it was rough, but man, I kept going and look where I am today. The Three of Cups, we have the Devil. So for some of you, this is a lesson of seeing where maybe you've been holding yourself back from authentically connecting with others. Let's see what else is coming through here. We also have the Four of Coins and the Eight of Wands. This can be also the realization with the Four of Coins and the Eight of Wands of where you've been holding yourself back from taking action. The Eight of Wands speaks to a lot of movement, a lot of things happening. It can also be quick communication as well. This could be like sending somebody an email or a text. And with the Four of Coins or the Four of Pentacles, this is speaking to holding yourself back in the physical from either, this could be, hey, there's an investment opportunity. This could actually be where someone texts you and says, hey, you want to go on a date? And you're like, and you're doing this like whole crazy life review. And you're like, nah, not really. I'm not going to do it. And this is saying there is an element of support here. It's time to kind of lean into that. I think there's been a feeling of kind of clinging to what has been. The Four of Coins can be where we're just trying to maintain a level of stability in the physical, but we're holding ourselves back from really being able to make use of the Eight of Wands energy, which is fast movement. It's kind of getting back on track. I always feel like this card specifically in this deck looks like getting on a train and getting on the train tracks and starting to move towards illumination, moving towards the light that's kind of shining that only maybe you can see. And the Devil speaks to, again, where we hold ourselves back, where it can also speak specifically to what something that we used to love, when it now has become the thing that is a chain instead of the thing that what used to be supportive to us. So this can be where, an addiction, where we used to love going out with others and drinking into the night, but now we realize that that's not the healthiest way anymore for us to have stable connections with others. This can be where you realize that the person you used to love has become toxic, and maybe they're not even with you anymore. But when you look at the love you had for them, it's something that is still holding you back in some way. So there is something here kind of as this last push to kind of come out into this fresh cycle of love, support, and vulnerability, is really allowing yourself to look at anything that you at one time loved that is no longer emotionally supportive of the new emotionally mature individual you are, and where can you release that to free yourself up to have the courage in the physical to get on that train to start moving towards the love that wants to come in from anyone and anywhere, and probably with the Three of Cups from quite a few people who want to come in and embrace you. So we also have the Eight of Cups as your third underlying energy, and the Eight of Cups is understanding that it's time to walk away from something that is no longer emotionally fulfilling. This energy has been coming through very strongly recently for me, as also the awareness of we can have the Eight of Cups, but the Eight of Cups in order for it to become the 10 of Cups, you need the Two of Cups. You need to connect what you've emotionally invested in with someone else. You need to share your life with someone else. You need to share your experience. And if you don't have that, you can have everything in the world. You can pour yourself into building the most amazing home. You can pour yourself into having the most amazing career. But at the end of the day, if there's no one left to share that with, then it's kind of like, the tree falling in the woods with no one there to hear it. Does it really happen? Does it really matter? Does it really have meaning to you? And so that's a question to ask yourself is there a place in your intimate connections that will heighten possibly what you've already put investment into? This can also be where now it's time to realize that there was something in your past that you have poured yourself over and over and over again, 8 cups worth from your cup, and where it's just not hitting the Two of Cups. And that might mean that it's now time to look for another person to share that with. Or to say, I'm not going to keep pouring into these 8 cups. That's not fulfilling to me. It looks like a lot on paper, but it's not actually doing anything for me. So instead of depleting that or continuing to deplete myself on an emotional level, I'm going to walk away from it in the hope that there will be another cup that is met that is equal to mine, and I don't have to continue to pour so much. In fact, there is a feeling here sometimes too for me of when someone has maybe poured themselves emotionally into a relationship with no return on that investment, and it's better to walk away from that in the hope that you will meet someone who simply shares their healthy cup, doesn't need to pour into yours, and you don't need to pour into theirs, and that there will be a kind of an equalization, a harmony, where you get to finally just hold your cup sacred. You get to have your needs met. You get to follow your dreams, and you don't have to pour into the 8 cups anymore. So keep that in mind. For those of you who are thinking about, again, this could be walking away from the memory of a past relationship. This could be walking away from even just a past version of yourself. When we're thinking about death, again, this is looking at a past version of yourself that is now been transformed. And it could be just walking away from a past version of yourself that didn't honor your emotional sense or your emotional side to your experience. Okay, so now we're going to pull a card here to take a look at the energy, just an overarching theme for the month of July for you, Libra. So let's take a look here. What does Libra need to know about the energy for the month of July? What does Libra need to know? What does Libra need to know? It's funny, usually, oh, there we go. Oh, I love it. Balance. Well, that's perfect for you, Libra, because your sign is all about harmony and balance. You are the scales of justice. So we have yin and yang, number 22. Number 22 is the energy of the master builder. This is someone who has finally graduated into understanding the work that it takes to build something harmoniously with others. And with yin and yang, this is really also balancing the divine feminine and the divine masculine energies that lie within all of us, which is our ability to initiate in balance with our ability to receive and create. So there's something here this month that is really having you take a look at your intimate connections, that 2 of Cups, that maybe when we think about it coming out face down, something you haven't wanted to really look at. How do you come into every relationship, and how now can you possibly, kind of almost like looking at like where was your communications in the past kind of not balanced, where because of your lack of bringing in your own emotions, what was happening there? What was kind of allowing for the imbalance that maybe someone in your external to you in that relationship dynamic was maybe having to overcompensate for the lack of emotional investment or the lack of emotional awareness even. But there is something here around, I think, this month, which is beautiful, is that you're coming into that balanced place of wholeness within the self. You're realizing how you connect with others. You're realizing how you want to connect with others. And I think once you have the courage to say, is it worth it for me to start to share myself vulnerably with others? There's going to be a big answer of yes. Fast movement of support coming in for you. I'm going to pull just a couple clarifiers to see if there's anything specific that this is relating to. I did see Ace of Cups at the bottom of the deck again, right there. Beautiful. Okay, let's see. So what does Libra need to know about yin and yang? Judgment. Yeah, major change. Judgment does usually infer that there has been a death that's taken place, because judgment speaks to being called up from the dead as the new version of yourself. So this might be what you're balancing, the part of yourself that has died away or that needed to be pushed down a little bit, and the new part of yourself that is being called up, that truly is new. You can't kind of go back to how you used to be. The old way is gone. And that might entail Two of Swords making a decision. And for some of you, there's this, I think the Two of Swords can be not being able to see what truth is more in alignment with you as you are trying to make a decision. And I think for many of you, there comes down to this part of, well, because one truth is still attached to the old version of yourself and one truth is attached to the new version. So it's saying, really look at how you've grown, how you've changed. The Queen of Swords is going to tell you your story. The Eight of Cups is going to tell you what is no longer emotionally fulfilling. And Judgment is going to show you how much you've come through and changed from the beginning of the cycle you're ending now and where you are today. And in that changed version of yourself, what is the truth now to bring out and bring into kind of balance and harmony? What was the big lesson here of learning about what was imbalanced in your life? So for instance, if you were on a path, let's say, where you were being pushed maybe the whole cycle was about you not taking action or initiating or stepping into a healthy version of your masculine energy. And you're looking back now going, oh my gosh, yeah, I was working for people who really harnessed that masculine energy, the King of Wands, and I was maybe dating someone who also harnessed that energy, and I let myself get trampled. I let their passion maybe override my emotions, and because I was cut off from my emotions, I then in turn my own masculine energy was diminished. I did not take action in a way that was maybe appropriate, or I initiated things that didn't feel good to me. And this is saying, so if that whole cycle was all about looking at kind of your imbalance in your masculine energy, or maybe your unhealthy expression of your masculine energy, then maybe at the end of this cycle, you're realizing, wow, now that I'm aware of this, I can learn to initiate in a different way. I don't have to be the person who steps on other people to express what I am passionate about and how I choose to take action. I also don't have to put aside my own emotions to take healthy masculine energy. I can bring both into alignment. So that's kind of an example of, as you look back at your past cycle, really look at what was being highlighted, either an unhealthy attachment to the masculine or an unhealthy attachment or expression of the feminine energy, which would be where you're unable to receive. And that maybe now you're realizing I'm being pushed into a new cycle where I'm being prepared to receive, because the whole last cycle was teaching me how I was not able to do that. So it'll be different for every one of you, but there's something here around really realizing that part of yourself is what's now coming into being balanced. That maybe in that, for many of you who are in a long-standing relationship, it can be in this awareness and repairing this within yourself, this energy that was out of balance, that you might actually be able to bring balance to a relationship that got a little off kilter. Or as you move into and getting into a new relationship, you will become a new version. So this can kind of help with that fear around, well, what if it happens again? What if I meet another person and the same thing happens? It says, well, that won't happen because you're a different person. You were changed by that past relationship. And the Queen of Swords speaks to that. Okay, so I'm going to pull a Power of Surrender card here, Libra. Let's see what Libra needs to know about the month of July and where they need to surrender. Surrender denial. It says, accept people and situations exactly as they are without denying the difficulties. Then you can see things clearly and make the best decisions. And I like this card because, when we think about, it says, accept people and situations exactly as they are. Sometimes we want to either gloss over the truth. We want to maybe change the other person instead of change within ourselves. And yeah, it says without denying the difficulties. Yeah, it may be difficult for you to come to the table and express how you've changed to someone else. It may also be difficult because the other person in your life maybe has not grown at the same rate that you have, or has not gone through the same level of self-discovery. But what I'm really getting here more than anything is the awareness that you can't, especially if you're dealing with a current relationship or even the memory of a past relationship, there's a feeling here of taking it at face value. That it's not about changing the other person. It's not about going back and beating yourself up for what did or did not happen. It's about taking it at face value, either the person or the situation, and just saying, well, this is what it is. So if this is what it is, then how have I changed in that process? And how now, in the way that I've changed, can that change the story of what happened in the past? And I can start to see it and tell it in a new way. Or if I'm dealing with a person in the present, how can I just accept that I've changed? And then how can I bring my new self into the dynamic? And how can I start to test to see if the individual, if this truly is a balanced relationship, if as the new me, this actually brings out something different within the other person. But it's not about controlling the other person. It's about literally just accepting they are on their path wherever they are and however they choose to act at this time. But it's bringing out the new version of you and understanding how you've changed and grown and just allowing that to be seen. And that's going to be kind of the litmus test for you here. Do I walk away? Do I stay? Same thing when you're looking back at a past event. Again, if you're realizing, wow, I did get hurt in that past relationship, but you know what? I didn't honor my emotions. I didn't speak up when I should have, or I let the other person trample me, or I didn't ask for support when I needed it from others. I'm going to be different this time around because I've now grown in that area of my experience. So when I go into a new relationship, I'm going to understand not to have the fear that that will happen again, but that I am a new person. So I will attract a different person to me. I will attract someone who will complement who I am in this new version of myself, judgment. Okay, so now I'm going to pull a final card here, Libra. And we'll take a look at the excerpt in the book that comes in this oracle deck, so you can get just kind of a final message. Okay, so we have 3 cards that came out. I guess I'll take them all because they all just popped out. And the first one here, Power of the Divine Masculine. Yeah, I think for many of you, this was a lesson in balancing your masculine energy. Now, it doesn't mean that for all of you, it doesn't mean that you weren't taking action, that you weren't initiating, that you weren't, asserting yourself. It means that it might have been in a way that was also not connected to your emotional core. And that can come across sometimes as very disconnected. So I think this is repairing your masculine energy and bringing it back to a place that is directly connected to your emotions. To say, yeah, I'm going to take action, but this is the why. The emotional connection always gives us the why. It gives us the stability to hold firm without, let's say, like flying off the handle. Because the King of Cups is someone who is very stoic. He's not going to fly off the handle because he's sitting and honoring his emotions. He's feeling his feels. He knows his why, and he doesn't have to express that to others. He can simply just sit and be open for others to come and share their emotions, and he can just say, well, this is the way I feel, and this is where I'm choosing to take action. And that's it. But so we have 3 cards here. So I'll read a short excerpt for each one of these. We have the Pink Rose of Lady Nada, number 29, which breaks down to my favorite number, a master number 11 in numerology. That really speaks to kind of opening the door to what can be when we have the courage to grow and co-create with spirit. We have Cosmic Heart, Cosmic Christ, number 27, breaking down to the number 9, which is number 9 is all about endings and is about gleaning that information. It's kind of the number of magic in numerology. And then we have power of the divine masculine. So here we go with number 10, breaking down to number 1. So this is the true ending and the beginning. So yeah, for many of you, this was a cycle of learning how to work with your masculine energy and bring it to a place of wholeness and balance within. Okay, so let's look at first Lady Nada. So it says the pink rose of Lady Nada. It says you are in the midst of a heart healing, a healing of the fears and anxieties that have held you back from enjoying your full magnificence. Lady Nada is here with all her gentle power, washing you in soft pink light. All anger, fear, sadness, bitterness, disappointment, and hurt are soothed and loved into peace. She brings you a sign of your future blossoming into deeper love. I love this. I'll read just the first paragraph here. It says, the pink rose of Lady Nada is a spiritual gift from higher guidance. It brings love, healing, strength, and compassion to your heart. You may be burnt out or feeling anger, fear, depression, chronic fatigue, or compromised wellness. Perhaps your heart is so tired that you struggle with compassion fatigue, finding it difficult to care, even though your nature is one of deep compassion and kindness. Or perhaps you have put your heart and soul into something or someone and feel your efforts have been cast aside or taken for granted. Perhaps you are processing a great loss. Whatever the reason, Lady Nada has come to comfort your soul. Your pain will pass and your suffering will be alleviated sooner and more gently than you might expect. I love that it says that. I think for many of you, the gist as you go further into this is really speaking to you're at a point now where you have gone through suffering, but now you see the rainbow, you see the rose, there's this beautiful gift, and it's all, you are healing at this time to bring in the new gifts that are waiting for you. Okay, so now I'm going to look at Cosmic Heart, Cosmic Christ. It says, you are elevating your vibration towards the frequency of limitless supply and unconditional love. Spiritually, you are reaching for a high level of attainment. Past pain and self-defeating behaviors shall no longer have a place in your heart. Christ consciousness is an expression of divine love that comes straight from the universal heart. It triggers a transmutation, an evolution so absolute that we are irrevocably changed. We increasingly become an embodied expression of pure divine will and an unwavering expression of divine love for all who are in need. This process takes lifetimes to complete. As you proceed, you will receive countless blessings to support your journey and fulfill your sole purpose of serving love. There will also be tests. These give the spirit a chance to develop mastery. There will be tests of forgiveness. It is easy to forgive when you don't harbor resentment at natural limitations, which is like being angry at the sun for not shining at night. Natural laws prevail, so whether we are speaking of the sun, a child, or ourselves as we grow, compassion allows forgiveness to flow more easily. And then we have 10, which is power of the divine masculine. It says, an empowering energy seeks expression from within. It wishes to free you from confusion, paralysis, and stagnancy. It seeks to stir you into consciously chosen action, greater discipline, and focus. It's time to end the frustration of repeating old patterns. You are ready to break through into a new way of life. Feel inspired, be energized, and focus on your dreams and desires. Take steps to manifest them on the physical plane. Believe your success is inevitable. It says the divine masculine in you knows when to accept and when to say no to a belief, fear, habit, person, or situation. This divine masculine energy exists within all men and women. It rallies the spirit and responds in times when you may feel drained, taken advantage of, or overwhelmed by too many choices and demands. It cuts through the confusion that comes with choice and priority setting. It refuses to be distracted and keeps you from being dissuaded from your life purpose. I love that. says the divine masculine is growing within you now. It is the spiritual light that reveals the truth without filters or veils. Let this energy clear distractions, demands, and drama from your life. Let it help you discern what is best for you and give you the courage to act on it. Let it help you sort out what is true from what is illusion. Let it help you dedicate your time and energy to what has most meaning for you. It will empower you to claim success in what matters most to you. And I'm going to repeat this last line from up here. It says, believe your success is inevitable. That's the belief that is coming here. If you can step into that belief that your success in love is inevitable, it will come through. That's the blessing for you this month, Libra. All right, I will leave it there. I hope you all have a wonderful month ahead, full of breakthroughs into the new and into love. If you'd like to book a personal reading, you can click on the link in the description box below to visit my website to view a list of my services. Otherwise, I do post throughout the month weekly collective readings, and then I follow that up with a in-depth mini reading for each sign based on that collective reading, which is posted either Sunday night or Monday morning. All right, I will leave it there. I wish you again all of the best this month, Libra, and I will see you next month for your next illumination reading. Bye.